Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Menopause Matters Live. Let's get started. So today we are talking about how to kickstart your weight loss. Now, last week I started talking about weight and why diets don't work. This week I am going to be talking about what you can actually do about it. I'm going to be really drilling down. I talked about it a bit last week, but I'm going to be drilling down into the biggest area that you really need to focus on, which is blood sugar and insulin. Now, just to mention at the start, if you haven't seen it already, my course, it's a 6-week course, the Belly Buster Method, is going on flash sale starting tomorrow, Friday, the 12th of April at 6 p.m. and ending on Sunday, the 14th of April at 6 p.m. And so it's going to be over 40% off, so massive reduction. This is my birthday month, so I'm doing as a special birthday offer. If anybody wants to get that, now is the best time to do it because I won't be doing this again anytime soon. And it really is a bargain. It's going to take you through everything I talk about today in detail, explaining it properly, and then giving you the steps to follow so that you can actually implement it and start to see the results yourself. You can also ask me questions in the course, and I will answer them for you there as well. There is a page that it has all the details. I will pop it into the comments wherever you're watching this, and then you can have a look and you can set your alarms for 6 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, so that you don't miss it. All right, let's crack on. I want to get this done in under 15 minutes. So first of all, I just want to talk about recapping what happens in perimenopause and menopause that makes us more prone to gain weight. First of all, we have a drop in our metabolic rate, our resting metabolic rate, about a 15% drop. Calories burnt whilst at rest falls, and that is an issue that most women will struggle with, and well, I would say struggle with. It's a natural thing that will happen, and so that can, it's all of these things that add up that make it more difficult. Estrogen metabolism is accustomed to regular doses of progesterone and estrogen. Estrogen has insulin sensitizing effects, so loss of it can trigger a shift towards insulin resistance. And as I said, resting metabolic rate, it's to do with partly because of muscle loss. We lose muscle as we head through perimenopause into menopause. And also androgen excess can shift us into insulin resistance as well. This is the hormone that stimulates, insulin is the hormone that stimulates the cells to take glucose out of the blood. It's released by the pancreas, and there is a 1 in 2 chance that you will get insulin resistant to some degree once you hit menopause. So it's very, very common, and that's why it's so important that we do this work, not just for the weight loss, but also for our health. Really, really important. Untreated, it can lead to pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, and it affects all sorts of things. It also makes hot flashes worse, much worse. I've had a lot of women who have just done the blood sugar control. They've gone through the belly buster method and they have improved their hot flashes because there is a direct correlation. It's not the only reason. Obviously, falling estrogen is part of it, but it can really help. So that's kind of the causes. I'm not going to go into all of it at the moment. Signs of blood sugar being out of control and insulin resistance are abdominal weight gain, apple-shaped bra strap fat, that kind of thing. Measurement at your belly button wants to be about 89 centimeters or less. So your waist should be, or you can measure it by half your height. If your waist is more than half your height, then that's a sign of blood glucose poor control or insulin resistance. Fatigue, sugar cravings, high triglycerides. If you've had your blood test done by your GP, that's also a sign, and cholesterol as well. Skin tags, Dark discoloration under the arms or pits or groin, that's a very good sign, but not everybody will get that. And also fatty liver. So we talked about last week why diets don't work, and I talked about, calorie reduction, what that does, the fact that it puts us into rapid weight loss and then plateauing. It affects our metabolic pace, etc. Diets are really stressful on the body as well, especially extreme diets, and they can raise cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which then actually, when that's high chronically, will also increase belly fat being laid down around the middle. So it's all these things, and it's not, you can't just do one thing and then expect everything to be sorted. You have to really take a holistic approach. And that's why I did the belly buster method. I put that together for those who want to really focus on this area, and see the results. So I just want to share with you, if I can, let me see if I can do this. I just want to share with you a slide from one of my slide decks, because I want to talk about blood glucose. Let me see if I can do this. Bum, 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 bum. Right. Where are we? Slideshow. There we go. Okay. Where has... Now I can't see the thing to share the... Oh, golly gosh, it's not going to work, is it? Right, no, I'm not going to be able to share it, unfortunately. I can't see the Zoom to then to share it. So I'm just going to talk about it. I want to talk about blood glucose and why it's, what happens when we lose control of our blood glucose. So when we eat carbohydrates, depending on how much carbohydrates we eat and how simple or complex the carbohydrate is, when I say simple or complex carbohydrates tend to be carbohydrates like things with carbohydrates with fiber in them. Simple carbohydrates are things like sugar and honey and things like that. Very they turn to glucose in the blood very, very quickly. Complex carbohydrates take longer to break down in the blood into glucose in the blood, and so the more complex the carbohydrate, and the less the amount of glucose in that portion of carbohydrate, the less you will have an impact on your blood sugar, and vice versa. And so it's just so important to understand this really key concept, because when you do, and you understand which foods do what, you can start to eat without having to cut things out and never eat them again. You can choose what you're having, how much you're having of it, and you get a much better sense of whether that is impacting your blood glucose, and therefore it's going to impact your weight and everything else. When we give cells the more energy than they need, i.e. when we eat too much carbohydrates, too much glucose, our blood sugar will spike too quickly and with too much glucose, and then problems arise. Firstly, when we have too much glucose in the blood, it causes damage to our cells. Free radicals are released and it damages our cells. So then the body has to get that glucose out of the blood and it releases insulin. But the problem is when we eat too much glucose or carbohydrates in one portion, so in one meal, the body overcompensates and releases way too much insulin, and then the too much glucose is taken out of the blood in one go and our blood sugar drops. So if you get symptoms like excuse me, if you kind of after lunch, for example, you feel sleepy, or you get hangry often, excuse me, or you feel the effects of what's the word? What was I going to say? If you get hangry, if you get sleepy in the afternoon, if you get very hungry, if you find that eating sugars or drinking coffee helps to resolve that, then you very likely have issues with your blood sugar. There's lots of symptoms of it. Also, if you wake up a lot in the night, that can also be a very key indicator. And so this what then happens over time, if you keep on doing this, eating too much carbohydrates, and it can take years. I mean, it's not something that happens overnight, but bear in mind, when we hit perimenopause, we are generally at that age that, this has been going on a long time. We're in our 40s or 50s. And so by the time we hit this time and then we start losing estrogen and progesterone, it's kind of like the perfect storm. And we can then become insulin resistant. When you have been releasing too much insulin too often, your cells start to become resistant to it, and they no longer allow the insulin to enter the cell with the blood glucose, because the job of insulin is to take glucose out of your blood, out of harm's way. If you eat a blood sugar balanced diet, you end up eating the right amount of glucose to give you enough energy to keep you going, but not so much that it gets laid down as fat. Or if you become insulin resistant, it actually, starts to cause other health issues as well. So it is a really big problem, and it's very, very, very common. There is not one woman that I have worked with, probably in the last, I don't know how long, gosh, over a long period of time. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that I've worked with that has not got any issues with their blood glucose, and I don't think there is. There maybe have been one or two who have come to me for other things when I used to not just do perimenopause and menopause. But every woman who comes to me with perimenopause or menopause symptoms, or that's what they think it is, fatigue, weight problems, slowing down body, etc., they've all got problems with their blood glucose control. And that is why this is so important. It's one of the pillars of menopause health. It's one of the pillars that I use with all of my clients, and it's one that you have to get right. Like, mineral testing, of course, is extremely helpful for so many other things, not just about your blood glucose control, but it does give us insight into that as well. But everybody that works with me on my big program, the Revitalize Your Menopause, does the work on their blood glucose as well. And if you're struggling with weight, it's where you have to start. So if weight is your main issue, perhaps you haven't got the budget to do the big program, or perhaps you just don't want to at the moment, or you don't want to at all, but you really want to focus on the weight, then the belly buster method is a really great place to start, because it's not just going to help you to lose that weight, it's going to get you into a much healthier place. Your body will love you for it. You will feel more energetic. If you struggle with fatigue, it helps with that. If you sleep poorly, it could well improve that. If you have, the belly fat, of course, that's going to improve. And it gives you all the steps to do that. So, as I said, I'm going to finish now because I want to do it in under 15 minutes. The Belly Buster method is on flash sale this Friday, 6 p.m., which is the 12th of April 2024, and it ends at 6 p.m. on Sunday the 14th of April. So if you want to get a massive discount off it and give it a go and see what results you get, then you can do that tomorrow. There will be posts going up and emails going out, so you can do that. But if you've already got the link, and I will put it in the comments, then you can just go on after 6 p.m. tomorrow, and it will be at the reduced price. All right, I will leave it there. Have a great day. Take care. Bye for now.